So I kind of forgot to record a video today, but I'll make something quick. Recently, I went to Washington, D.C. for a vocal competition, and then after that, I went to New York to try to have a trial lesson with a professor, which unfortunately didn't work out because we read the emails wrong and he was in New Jersey. But while we were at New York, we had the privilege of seeing Merrily, We Roll Along. I've recently become obsessed with this show after I found out that my high school is going to be doing it next year, and I listened to the soundtrack and I'm addicted to it. And today I'm just gonna rave about that a little bit, so yeah. The music and lyrics of Merrily We Roll Along were written by Sondheim. And for those of you who don't know, he is an absolute giant in the world of musical theater, and his lyrics and his music is just it's so wonderful. His lyrics are really clever. His music is unique in that it's more talky, yeah. But then it's underlaid with the most beautiful orchestration. I think my first exposure to Sondheim was when I did Into the Woods Junior at my high school. And that was a lot of fun because it was a student-directed show. And yeah, there were some little goofs that happened on stage. I played Jack, and I have a cow called Milky White, and this cow means the world to me, right? It was a big cutout of a white cow on wheels, and it's supposed to die at some point in the show, and it's supposed to be absolutely tragic for me. But the way we made it die was there was this little hinged stop that was right behind the cutout, and if you kick the stop out of the way, the cutout just falls flat like that. And there was a rope leash on the cutout, so the stop was propped up like this, and I went to just kind of use my foot to sneak it out of the way so that the thing could die. But what happened was, and this was in front of an audience, by the way, the rope leash got stuck in the stopper. So I tapped it and it just wouldn't budge. And so I gave it a little kick again, it wouldn't budge. So now all the other cast members are just staring at me like, what is happening? And the audience is staring at me, so I have no choice but to like wind up a kick and just punt that. It was very clear, very loud, because the stop just slammed down, and then Milky White just... But yeah, I digress. By the way, spoilers ahead, I'm literally going to talk about the entire plot. Merrily We Roll Along is about a trio of friends who start off as these energetic, enthusiastic people who want to change the world. The main character, Franklin Shepard, and his friend, Charles Kringus, they want to write musicals together. Franklin Shepard is a musician and he loves music. And the third friend, Mary Flynn, is a writer. She wants to write a book, and she's also in love with Frank. What happens to these friends as time goes by is that Frank wants to start pursuing wealth instead of the things that he and Charlie are working on. And Charlie gets bitter about that, he's upset. And Mary still loves Frank, but he doesn't love her back. Frank gets married to someone else, they have a kid, and then Frank cheats on her and they get divorced. Then Frank marries again, and then Frank cheats on her, and he's surrounded by a whole bunch of people that don't really care about him, he doesn't really care about them, and he's not liking his life so much. Not to mention all his friends have left him. Mary and Charlie are gone. What's unique about Merrily We Roll Along is that the show runs in reverse. The show opens on a New York City rooftop, and it was so cool because, well, the overture just finished playing, and then the cyc, which is just the big curtain behind the set, it just lit up with stars, and it was amazing. It was just a blue night sky, and there were the sounds of like distant New York streets in the background, and it's just on a rooftop. And there's one guy there, that's Frank. He's all alone. He just went through his second divorce, and he's just on the rooftop. Now, since the show runs in reverse, this is present Frank, after his friends have left him, after he pursued wealth instead of pursuing music, which he loved. At the end of the show, you see that the rooftop that he's on right now is the rooftop where him, Charlie, and Mary set their mission to go and change the world. And that's where the show ends. Here he is at the beginning, just thinking about his life. And he's holding his old songbook. Something great about Merrily is that it didn't feel so flashy. It felt really just human, yeah? And I think several times there's the sounds of New York streets playing lightly in the background, and I don't know, it just added to that feel. So the show begins with Frank alone on the roof in the middle of the night, and all the people that he lived with in his life are just standing kind of around him, singing to him about the dreams that he left behind. The number sounds really optimistic with the way it's written, with the lyrics of it. It's all about chasing your dreams, but in context, it feels kind of mocking almost. This opening number sort of juxtaposes the way the tune sounds with the actual context of the scenario. I got some New York ambience playing in the background. I hope it's audible enough, but yeah. And also my loud laptop. So yeah, it's just Frank standing on the roof, and he's just thinking about his life. And then as he's standing there, you hear this very, very iconic thing that just comes up over and over in the show again, and it's an earworm. It just gets stuck in your head. Yesterday is done. When I first listened to the cast recording of this show and learned about the plot and everything, this in the beginning always felt like a kind of like, poking at his shoulder, like, hey. And then they start singing about dreams and stuff to him, this guy who had dreams and left them behind. That's why I felt like this song always felt kind of mocking. So all the people around him are singing about dreams, and then they end off on this really shimmery, optimistic chord. Ooh, honking. And then it goes into this kind of funky, cannot believe I just used the word funky. And then some cynicism starts to creep in, because this guy, he goes, tend your dreams. It is so catchy. It's been stuck in my head for like several months. And then the opening number goes by and I can't describe it very well. Obviously, I can't capture the actual opening number of this show because I only have a piano, 2 hands, and limited piano experience. But I think I would suggest that you give it a listen. I love it. And I feel like it's a bit of an acquired taste, but